Today is Thursday, February 23rd, 2012. My name is Stephen Beacham.
I'm Brian Tong.
And I am Molly Wood. Welcome to Buzz Out Loud, CNET's podcast of indeterminate length. It is episode 1582, and we're super excited today because Buzz Out Loud General Counsel Gil Cabrera. Special counsel? That might be more appropriate, right?
Yeah. Legal advisor.
Legal advisor.
Special
counsel seems
counsel
like
expert. Jedi counsel.
We really just work on your title every time you're
Counselor
here.
in chief, whatever.
Otherwise known as Gil SD in the chat room.
Nice.
Joining us in studio once again
hello.
to lend his expert legal opinion on all things tech.
Well, my legal opinion.
You are the expert here, so you just might as well embrace it. You might as well embrace
Well,
it.
it's all relative, right?
And if we stump you, we won't be mad because that means we don't know the answer either.
We won't even know that we stumped you.
I was going to say, the
likely.
good thing is I could answer it and nobody would know.
Yeah,
You
you're
could
a
also-
lawyer, dude.
yeah.
You could fake it.
Or you could also talk in circles like Anish did last week.
Man.
Man.
Did
That
he
was
ever.
brutal.
That was
Wow.
That was brutal. I'm not going to lie.
He's
I
a
love
good
that
guy.
dude,
He's a good guy, but once the mics went hot,
Right?
it was like, oh, who is this robot that was like it was like a chip. It was like someone flipped a switch and all of a sudden it was like, dude, not cool anymore.
He's a well-trained man. He really is.
Not
And
cool
I'm
anymore.
glad that you were there to see him off camera so that you can know that why I still like him. Because I could tell that BT was like, why would you? I'm like, I like him. He's a great
No,
guy.
I think he is a
But
great
yeah,
guy.
wow.
But once the
Wow.
interview turned on, it was like, wow.
I had a list of like 30 questions, and we all.
You got like two.
Anish also had a list of 30 questions that he would ask after you ask a question. That's how he plays the
I
game.
think what you meant to ask me, Molly, was this.
Let me
No,
ask
no,
you a
that's-
question,
that's
Gil.
not what I asked.
Let me ask you a question, Gil.
And Eric Schmidt did that to me too. Everybody hates my questions.
Let's make up cool
Eric Schmidt
analogies that
totally
has
did that.
nothing
Yes,
to
I
do with the
remember that.
topic at hand and still not answer a yes or no
I'm not
question.
going to answer that question. Yeah. Instead, I'm going to answer this question.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that.
Fine. Just say that.
Goodness. Anyways, Gil, we're really happy to have you
excited.
here. So
Thanks for having me back. It's
yeah,
lots of
thanks
fun.
for coming back to the house.
And it couldn't be a more appropriate show to have you back on, actually, because it's like Privacy Week. I mean, every week in tech seems to be copyright, patent, and intellectual property issues week. So it's that. Plus, though, there's a ton of sort of exploding privacy news this week, which is really interesting.
It's very interesting. For example, just kind of the top of the breaking news of just the whole legal news that we have going on. The tech firms, a large group of tech firms, including Apple, Google, Microsoft, and others, have now agreed for privacy protection for their mobile apps. They've agreed to require developers to inform users explicitly about their data usage policies before they download the apps. This is really being spearheaded in California first, but these policies will then be implemented across the board. It's just that obviously when apps are available in a state or nationally and globally, if they adhere to California's laws and requests, they'll also affect how their apps are distributed, and that message goes across the board.
You're welcome, the world.
Thank you.
We like to give you our laws whenever possible. This actually it basically puts the California Online Privacy Act global, which is an amazing thing by agreement.
And it was already, the Online Privacy Act already was one of the strongest consumer protection laws in the country, as far as I understand.
For disclosure purposes, yeah.
Right. And now it extends to app behavior as well. Now, what we found, though, Google responded and said, well, this is fine for us because this is exactly what we do on the Android all the time. The potential problem here, though, is, we've all installed an app and been like, whoa, dude, this app wants to do a lot of junk that I don't think I like. Okay, because we want the app.
Yeah.
And so a lot of privacy advocates have come out and said, that's super that you now have, globally tougher privacy restrictions and disclosure restrictions than anybody else. But the fact is these apps are still attempting, it is still their default behavior to try to collect as much information as possible. So the fact that they're telling you may not be enough. What really maybe needs to happen is that they just need to dial back the collection.
Well, and it's just disclosure, and the disclosure is going to be these big privacy policies again, right? They can just do a link really from even their website, and that almost complies with the law. And then the problem generally with privacy is enforcement. There's really no private enforcement that has teeth. The good news about this is that the Attorney General, who some say wants to run for governor someday, has a lot of incentive to enforce this very aggressively. So she'll probably be looking after this pretty well, but it's going to be up to the AGs.
Yeah, Attorney General Kamala Harris, she's originally from the Bay Area. She's what they're saying is that developers and platform providers that do not comply with the law can be prosecuted under, the California's unfair law, competition law, and false advertising law. The penalties, which would be up to $500,000 per use of the app in violation. So if she really wants to spearhead this and also use this as kind of one of her platforms of this is what I pushed out here for the state of California,
For the people of the world.
for the technology world.
The world.
She's a former DA of San Francisco.
It would be
County.
in their best interest to potentially in the future, if someone does actively and outright violate this, kind of bring it to the forefront and kind of make a little brouhaha if someone does overtly violate this policy in the future, which we might see.
Yeah, well, states' attorneys generals are incredibly powerful, and it wasn't until Spitzer in New York that really just showed everybody else just how powerful these positions were, and ever since then they've just been flexing their muscles a lot more. And they oversee so much areas of the law. They're the top law enforcement officer. They have subpoena power. They can do. You really don't want them up in your business. And what she's saying is, if you break these laws, I'm going to be in your business, and you don't want that.
And a lot of these businesses are right in her backyard.
Totally.
So I think she has an added incentive in terms of enforcement, and it's a little bit easier, frankly. I mean, she's looking right down at Silicon Valley. She's like, I have my eyes on you. I am right up the road, and if you step out of line, I will be right there.
And a lot
so
of
this
these
is actually.
Yeah, and a lot of these CEOs are on her advisory council too. That they meet. Or the general counsels are often on their little advisory council. So she talks to all these people.
So what we could we hope though that the existence of the laws could change the culture of data collection with it? Yeah, no. Bill's over there like,
I don't think so. Well, I think it's going to be the consumer reaction, and this week all these different articles that we're seeing about privacy. I mean, people are starting to get concerned, and over time, I think that will build up. But I still think 90% of consumers don't care.
Yeah, they're going to read the statement, not read all the fine print, and just say okay.
Yep.
But the fact that exists, okay, fine. If something bad happens, at least they're going to be liable for it.
It's a start. And the level of noise about privacy and the level of concern, at least among that sort of small but vocal group of consumers, has led to President Obama finally officially unveiling or attempting to work with Congress to enact the Consumer Privacy Bill of Rights, which will be unveiled tomorrow. That's been something that's been in the works for a long time, something that Anish Chopra has been talking at length about for the duration of his time.
Except to us.
As CTO, as federal CTO.
Did he get to that?
You asked a question about the Bill of Rights, but then he started talking about something else.
Right.
I recall that quite vividly.
But it's been in the works for a long time. It is now finally going to be unveiled, and I think that is it's not, the timing is no coincidence. This is definitely reaching a boiling point a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, part of it's a agreement with the industry, and that'll go into effect pretty quickly. The part that's got some potential teeth is the actual Bill of Rights that'll go through Congress, and that, as we know, nothing is going through Congress. So that's, I doubt, is going to go very far, unfortunately. But the agreements, the voluntary agreements and everything else, that'll start going forward. And again, all these government agencies are becoming concerned about privacy, and that's going to raise some issues.
Yeah, if you guys kind of want to break down at least just very generically of what the Consumer Privacy Bill of Rights will cover, it'll give us, the internet users, the right to control what data is collected, how our personal data is used and shared, avoid having information collected in one context and used for another purpose. Right? Sometimes they might ask for like your birth date or maybe some of your demographics or your height or weight, and then match that with the database. That under this Privacy Bill of Rights shouldn't happen. You would have control over that. Also have data held securely and to know who is accountable for the misuse of the data. So it works on many levels. The thing about this is, if we tie this into some of the privacy that we talked about in the previous story, again, it's going to come down to us just clicking that OK button or not.
Sure.
I've got to imagine, I don't know if I'd see a company give us granular control within the app of what we want to give out or not. Let's say Facebook says, okay, we know that they take a lot of our information, and we know that they match it to serve ads. We're not going to see a checkmark box of use my information for ad serving. I just don't imagine us seeing it in that specific detail. And this is what the Consumer Privacy Bill of Rights alludes to, that we can control it in that manner. But if it's not offered that way, then it's either up to you to use the service or not use the service.
Right.
And most of us are using the service.
Well, and that's going to be the hardest. I mean, and we'll be annoyed if we get 15 different pop-ups to clear it each time we want to use it, or one global one. I mean, nobody's going to want to do that, and there's going to be a lot of complaints. And the toughest thing about these areas generally is, I sometimes am a temporary judge in San Diego, and I hear small claims matters. And one of the biggest issues that I often face is people choose to do something and then the consequences of it they don't like. And that's the hardest thing in our society, right? It's you didn't have to do that, and you did. And that's what all these apps are going to take us down towards, is we're all saying, sure, here's where I am, here's where I'm going, here's where I went, and here's what I bought. Have fun with that.
It's true.
Well, and I think I've been struggling with this for a while recently too, because I've been thinking of myself as more of a 90%er in some cases. Like I think the rant that I want to write this week is like, you know what, screw it. I like Facebook, and Facebook to me has apparently a ton of potential problems in terms of privacy violations. They've definitely done some things in terms of revealing information that I thought was private before that was kind of annoying, but let's be honest, it wasn't very valuable information. And nothing that Facebook has done to me is any worse than what my bank is doing to me on any given day, right? Facebook is not the company that lost the database full of credit card numbers that caused my bank to turn off my credit card while I was traveling in New York City without notifying me. Like, Facebook doesn't do that crap. It's a safe place for me to put pictures of my kids up.
Right.
I like it. It's sort of an interesting conversation, I think, that we have to be having about how much we should care, because I think some of this, the code of conduct, the voluntary compliance, that's all going to come from consumer pressure. There's no way these companies are going to comply to the fullest voluntarily. That just doesn't happen,
right? Because
they know it's not good for their business, and they know that 90%, maybe even 91%, don't care that much, or can't put their finger on a discernible harm.
Right, and they can stop. I mean, I use Facebook basically just to share pictures of my kids and very generic things about life. It's the private one. I somewhat control who's on there, and then Twitter's different. And you can control these things. The interesting thing is when these companies start getting into all of these spheres, and then they're able to, like Google's new privacy policy, right? They're able to combine all that information. I mean, if you use Google Docs, Gmail, you search on Google, and you have Google Voice. I mean, they have a pretty good understanding of everything that's going on in your life, and that's where it becomes concerning.
Yeah, absolutely, and that I think people don't know about.
Right.
I mean, I think that I think you're right. A congressionally passed privacy bill of rights would be important. That there could be, and it's important because it addresses not the stuff about Facebook, right? It addresses the stuff about the companies that lose the giant databases of credit card information that they obtained from data brokers who are super shadowy companies that are collecting unbelievable amounts of information about you behind the scenes that have nothing to do with the really relatively minor stuff that Path and Facebook and Twitter are collecting about you. That's serious information that in some cases being traded, sold, and unprotected to our extreme detriment. And that, I think, it's easy to get distracted about what we're really talking about with privacy.
Right.
That's the stuff that Congress should actually take issue with.
And that's the stuff that right now there's almost no remedy for. When they lose your credit card data, when they lose your privacy data, there's not a whole lot you can do about it.
Right.
But you get this free monitoring, for a year thing.
Right.
You get a lovely disclosure that, hey, we lost your stuff, sorry, and that's about the extent of it.
Yep.
And that's where the problems
And
are.
it's like a nightmare, by the way, because if you ever turn on the fraud protection and the increase, that, like, my credit card gets declined, I would say, every 2 to 3 weeks because I have fraud protection turned on. So then it's always just like, oh crap, you're at the airport. I don't know, you never shopped at that store before. And I'm always standing there like, I swear to God, I pay my bill.
The funny one is gas, because gas is the first thing people do,
always
and they
gets
shut you
declined.
down.
Really?
That's
Yes.
the first thing people do is they go
It
to
makes
a
me
gas
insane.
station.
Oh.
Gas is expensive, Brian.
I know it's expensive. Trust me.
Well, apparently I learned once when my credit card was stolen that it's because at a gas station you can authorize basically $1 worth of purchase, and it will let you know if the card is good. So then that's why everybody tries it first, to make sure that the card's still good.
Well, there you go.
Anyway.
Thanks for that inside tip.
Now I know way too much about this. Meanwhile, also on the privacy tip, web firms, now that this sort of privacy thing is growing and everybody's so freaked out about it, a coalition of internet giants, including Google, have agreed at long last to support a do not track button to be embedded in most web browsers, which is something they have been resisting for more than a year.
Yeah, this is the interesting thing about this is that the new do not track button, it isn't going to necessarily stop all the web tracking. The companies that are part of this have agreed to at least stop using the data about people's web browsing habits and serving customized ads, but they've not agreed. But they have agreed not to use the data for employment, credit, health, or insurance purposes. So the data that they collect still can be used for some what they call market research, but not anything that's targeting anything personal and
Whatever that is.
product development. See, when I think of market research and
That's
product
exactly the
development,
problem.
you need these things. So it becomes very gray when you're trying to define, okay, what can we collect, what can we not? If they're saying okay, I'm not going to use, where you live and your age and your sex and whatever for your, for any healthcare or ad serving, that's fine. But I am going to use that information to figure out the other people like you and how they're using this product this way. They're going to use it.
They're going to use it.
They're going to use it.
Eagle Falcon in the chat room just said, by the way, that's an awesome name. That's like the name of like a sword. I give the do not track button about 2 months until it basically stops nothing.
Well,
because you'll just fit everything into if your bucket is market research and product development.
It's like the do not call list, right? I mean, I still get called constantly.
Oh,
and I've all of my numbers on the do not call list. It's useless.
The other thing that you guys can do right now, I'm not sure if you guys have checked it out or not, but there's this actually really cool plugin or extension called Do Not Track Plus. And what it actually does is you can install it on Firefox, Chrome, and Safari. Yes, it works on Safari as well.
Wow.
But what it allows you to do is it's a little indicator on the top of your browser, and it will prevent your website, your activity from being sent out. It's pretty scary because it shows all the ad networks, all the other hooks or trackers behind the scenes that your information is going to. It blocks all that activity. It still allows you to interact with Facebook and Twitter, but it just doesn't broadcast this stuff as freely as it normally does. So it's a free extension. I would definitely suggest you guys check that out because it's scary, the list. I went to CNN, and there were like 10 to 12 different things that it sends out to normally, but with that plugin, it doesn't.
Yeah, just seeing that list is almost worth looking at it because it'll scare the crap.
Yeah, it's called Do Not Track Plus. You guys could check it out. It's not a pimp. It's an actual tool that you might want to use.
In this case, the Do Not Track button would not block companies like Facebook from tracking you when you're logged in through the like button and all of that. So another giant loophole that is apparently blocked.
Right, all these larger internet giants are agreeing to a Do Not Track button up to a certain degree.
Exactly.
It's not a truly Do Not Track button.
We and the app developers will take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Thank you, app developers.
And when they agree to it, it's like they're in control of what they're agreeing to. I mean, they're going to limit it as best so that they can use it. I mean, that's the problem with it. Good times.
So basically, all this privacy stuff is moot.
You just have to figure out with yourself how much you're willing to share and then control it. I mean, that's ultimate. You still have the ultimate control over it.
And our lawmakers need to solve the real problems instead of the sexy problems.
Totally.
Like it's not about Facebook, like I said. Look for a column on that later today. So basically, when it comes to privacy, we are doomed. We are not, though, as doomed apparently as poor T-Mobile.
Oh my God.
Which, ouch. Which, as the Wall Street Journal describes it, had a, quote, brutal recent quarter. Brutal.
Well, let's just say how brutal. In the fourth quarter alone, remember, T-Mobile did not have a certain phone that has helped drive sales and numbers for a variety of other carriers. T-Mobile said in the fourth quarter, T-Mobile USA lost 802,000 contract customers. Revenues dropped 3.3% from the previous quarter the year before. The company is the last major U.S. carrier as well to announce its LTE plans. It's been questioned whether they even had enough spectrum to be able to launch LTE. Now, you do know that in the AT&T deal that fell through, one of the concessions is that they received I can't remember X amount, billions of dollars in cash. I can't remember how much.
Yeah.
But also some roaming agreements and additional wireless spectrum, which you would think they would use to launch their LTE plans. But again, how much do they have? How effective will it be? It's T-Mobile. This is not really one of the larger carriers. It doesn't look very good. and there looks like there's no other company in sight that wants to pick them up or scoop them up for their assets.
Or can.
Yeah.
I mean, because Verizon can't buy them.
Yeah. So basically, we're going to have 3 networks anyway, even though we blocked the merger, we're going to have 3 networks anyway. It doesn't matter.
U.S. Cellular.
Sweet. That worked out well.
This is JC and Novato in the chat room just said, this will just make it easier for AT&T to buy them in 2 years because they'll be so small and virtually defunct that it won't create a monopoly concern.
Or they'll just acquire the parts of it.
Right.
Their ads seem to me such a metaphor for their condition. Like way back when they had Catherine Zeta-Jones, they were hot, everything was cool. Now they have that cute ad spokesperson, but the ads are kind of low production, and it's just sort of sad. because they're saying, well, we don't have the iPhone, but we don't need that.
Yeah, I mean, they have bought themselves, well, they have received a tiny bit of breathing room in terms of that money, the spectrum, and the roaming agreements. There is some possibility that if they have a really strong strategy, that includes iPhone, that they might start to be able to rebuild. I mean, the fact is they actually, in the areas where they have service, they have good service. Like, I would say that at my Boonies treehouse, of the 4, T-Mobile works the best. Which is remarkable. And if they could really start, if they, do some bold moves like Sprint, like get rid of data caps and keep pricing competitive and really play up some of those unique features, like the fact that they can do the Wi-Fi calling. There is some possibility, I think, but they have got to get a move on.
Well, if they were a market disruptor like they said they were,
right?
They could really do well.
And
they
were. I mean, they were the most because they had to. They were the most innovative carrier with their plans. They had some of the hottest phones early on, right? They were willing to give those things a try. The first Nexus phone was on their carrier. They've done a lot of things, but now, everyone's not everyone. I don't want to say everyone. A lot of people decided that their next phone was going to be an iPhone, okay? Including people in this room.
Although,
no, but that point,
you will never let that go.
I'm not going.
in things I will never live down. Because when I told him I got one of these, what?
Well, I was surprised that she went from iPhone 4 to 4S. That one
I had an upgrade available.
That one, I was like, whoa. Anyways, they need to do even a lot more than become an innovator. They need a phone that people want.
I think
they don't have it.
It has to be more than that though, because we saw from Sprint's earnings that you lose money on iPhone. That the iPhone is a network killer. So it can't just be that. It's sort of like, they need to probably get that phone because it will bring subscribers in the door. But then they've also got to innovate in terms of plans, maybe some other hero devices, because just the iPhone alone will probably crush them.
Well, I meant they need a phone in addition
Yeah.
to they need at least that champion phone in addition to some of the things that they've done in the past.
Right.
They need to bring that back.
And you can't be the only one with no iPhone. That's just.
But I don't. I don't.
That just stops bleeding. I think that stops a certain amount of bleeding if they have the iPhone. It doesn't necessarily bring them back. The other thing I don't know is $3 billion a lot for a company for a big network company like this to actually rebuild infrastructure and things like that, or is that a drop in the bucket of what they need to actually spend? That's what I don't know. I've never understood that.
How much does that take? How much
seems
does that
like a
them?
lot, but it's a huge network, so who knows?
Yeah. Poor T-Mobile. All right, we're going to take a break and reflect on their sad state of affairs. When we come back,
it's a sad story. It's a sad story.
It's kind of a sad story. I know they were good. Nobody wanted them to be saved except them, and then now they're screwed. And now we're like, well, but at least you're not evil. It's not much consolation for them at all. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to have what I'm calling, because I'm the only one who gets this joke, Bob Blah Blah's Law Block with Gil Cabrera, and Into It, Not Into It. Just Google that. Welcome back to Buzz Out Loud, everyone. Brian Tong, Gil Cabrera, Stephen Beacham in the house.
Howdy.
I hope that you were all Googling Bob Loblaw's Law Blog
Bob Law
during the
Blahs.
break.
Hard to say.
Bob Loblaw,
Okay,
Loblaw.
thank you. I needed the spelling.
It's from Arrested Development. There was a character named Bob Loblaw, and he had his Bob Loblaw Law Blog. And it was hilarious. All right, anyway, we have a bunch of legal stories, is what I'm getting at. Starting with a letter from Microsoft's general counsel, which sounds a lot more like one of those letters that Google's general counsel is always writing. It's like this, it's an angry screed entitled, Google, please don't kill video on the web.
It's like a bad, when you read a brief and the lawyer just takes it too far over the edge and you're just like, really? really, that's just cliche and this and the other thing, and it just loses the point in it. But
Don't kill it.
It's
Don't
fascinating
kill it.
that a lawyer theoretically wrote this or
It's
put his name on it.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, the other funny thing is that it's not a letter to Google. It's a letter to Motorola.
Yeah.
To Motorola Mobility specifically. So what's been going on, in fact, okay, so what happened this week is that Microsoft filed formal complaints with the European Commission against Motorola Mobility and Google over smartphone patents. Microsoft contends that they had this FRAND agreement. It was
Fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory.
That's why he's here.
Yeah.
Fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory agreement that when it came to web streaming and other types of patents that were
Video and
basically essential,
Wi-Fi stuff.
video and Wi-Fi stuff, patents that were essential for kind of daily use, right? Watching video on the web, that they would agree to license their patents to each other under these fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory terms. Both Apple now and Microsoft allege that Motorola Mobility has not done that they've been asking for exorbitant rates in terms of licensing basically a couple of patents. It sounds like a fairly small number of patents, which I think Microsoft has referred to as a couple of pager patents.
Right. The crazy thing about this is, first of all, it underlines just the huge problems with the patents generally, right?
Yeah.
All of these people have like 30 or more patents each, all of these companies. And you need a combination of all of those patents to do H.264, right?
Yes.
And so and so when you set up that standard, you all agree, all right, since we all have a piece of this, we all have to...
We're homies.
We're in it together,
We
right?
built this city together. All of us. I built the sewer system. You built the electrical.
Right.
I did that. You know what? This is we're good.
But how messed up is patent law where
Yeah.
to get to H.264 to work, you have to cobble together 60 million patents? I mean, that
Right.
itself is part of the and you have to have all these weird
And you just have to have a gentleman's agreement.
random cross licensing agreements and this stuff. And then what as I understand it in the EU, the EU will basically decide whether or not it's fair and reasonable price.
And they've been a little more aggressive when it comes to
They're pretty
handing down
aggressive.
decisions
They're very
when it
aggressive.
comes to technology, patent law, which makes sense of why Microsoft would, file this over in the EU. Now, one of the things that when you talk about like the pricing, right? Just the scale of all this. What Motorola is essentially doing is, let's say you have like $1,000 laptop. Motorola, because this laptop has the ability to play H.264, Motorola would like or is demanding Microsoft pay a royalty of $22.50 for about its 50 patents that it owns on the video standard. Now, they're available. The thing is, this is from a pool of over 2,300 patents that is needed. All right. They're available from a group of 29 companies. 29 companies that came together.
So ridiculous.
So they want a $22.50 royalty for every laptop sold. Well, right now, Microsoft's patent royalty for that group is 2 cents. They want $22.50.
Right, and and I think the other difference is that I think the Microsoft approach is a number, like it's 2 cents per unit or something like that, and then whereas Motorola is doing it as a percentage. So if you get a bigger laptop that's more expensive, the price goes up, even though it doesn't change anything in terms of what
It's
you're getting.
ridiculous.
yeah, the $22.50 is on like $1,000 laptop.
Exactly. Yeah, it's 2% or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's insane. The entire patent pool has a royalty maximum of 20 cents per unit. Microsoft pays only 2 cents thanks to the volume discounts. Motorola Mobility is asking for much more. The reason that Microsoft addressed their letter, their hilariously unprofessional letter, that just is what people do. David Drummond from Google pioneered this. I want you to know. This
Like the
slightly
blog post.
unprofessional, angry blog post.
The blog post letter.
Yeah, the angry lawyer blog post. It's like a thing. Thank you, David Drummond.
It's weird. As a lawyer, it's just weird to see lawyers.
Is it because it's so very casual
Act
and
like
like the
people?
way that
It
it's
just
written?
doesn't. It just doesn't. Like I said, it doesn't feel lawyerly and
Yeah.
you know.
You've got to walk the
So I
walk
will.
sometimes.
He's totally like,
and so I will.
not done.
I,
It's not. I don't approve.
and so apparently I will never do work for Google. So
Exactly.
no,
or
not Google.
Microsoft.
Sorry, Microsoft.
The reason Microsoft addressed the letter to Google is that Google has apparently said that with their acquisition of Motorola Mobility, they have no intention of changing this pricing structure. No, thank you. We do not want to play in your little club.
Yeah.
Your
Google.
little
I mean,
H264
Google's funny because they're late to the patent party generally. It's clear they didn't quite get.
But they're bringing some swagger.
But now they're like, well then, hey, we're buying this company. We happen to have some patents. We can play here too.
Yeah, now they're going to try to
Yeah.
play like super hardball, and they're going to break everything.
Well, it's totally kids with marbles. I mean, Apple and everybody was picking on Google because everybody else had patents and Google didn't. Now Google's about to acquire all these patents, and Google's like, ha, 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 that's right.
Oh,
we got all
yeah?
these patents now too.
I'm sorry, Frand. We weren't there when you agreed on your Frandy.
I don't know
your
what this.
Frandy little
I don't know what this
relationship.
friend.
They're
stuff is.
frenemies.
We're not.
They're frenemies.
They're
They're frenemies.
frenemies.
They're not frenemies or enemies. They're frenemies.
Google's like,
Frenemies.
this sounds French. I don't understand.
We're not feeling that. Okay, so can we get rid of software patents now?
Yeah, sure,
on.
sure. I think you should make getting patents harder generally. Across the board. I mean, I see this all the time where you're having all these litigations over stupid old patents that's costing these companies a fortune when innovation and competition will do the trick. I mean, look at the fight between Apple and Google right now. Android, Apple says Android's ripped off all this stuff. It's not exactly the same, right? It's not a copycat. There's stuff that's the same, but Molly thinks Apple's winning that battle right now because she likes the Apple experience better. And that gets you there, and you don't need to have the billions of dollars expended on this stuff. But you need to be able to issue patents so that you can reward innovation, true innovation. That's the issue. And that's where it's hard. But to do that, you'd have to have this hugely beefed up patent office that nobody's going to pay for.
So at the same time, I remembered when we had talked about
Gil's
some of
kind of a bummer.
No, he's a realist. Yeah. I remember when we had talked about some of Microsoft's patents and how they're going after some of these tablet companies. You had chimed in the chat though. At the same time, it's like they have once the patent has been given to them, they have every right to go after it. So are you kind of saying they need to make it more difficult to award these patents so that they're more specific or not as generic, so things like this can't happen in the future? Because once you're granted it, as a company, if I'm trying to protect myself, I'm going to go after them.
Totally,
it makes sense.
And the system is in large part set up so that you get them granted, and then you fight over the validity and the infringement in court, which costs a fortune. And so these big companies have a total advantage on it, and these little companies that are trying to innovate are getting their butts kicked simply because they're trying to defend themselves. And I've been on both sides. I've been on both sides of this fight, and so I understand the relative aspects of it. But I think a fix to it would be to take care of the patents on the front end more than the way we're doing it now, which is we're just letting the courts and juries figure out what's going on with them. And I think that's crazy. But it would take, but to do so, you'd have to fund the patent office so you could still get them quick, because you need them fast. That's the issue.
Couldn't you just fund new computers at the patent office? I mean, let's be honest. Some of this does seem to be an infrastructure problem.
Well,
when you say fund the patent office, do you mean fund the infrastructure
process.
all throughout the
infrastructure,
process?
the people, I mean, the number of people involved. I mean, these patent agents are totally underwater. And the other thing about it that is brutal is I litigate these things, but I'm not a member of the patent bar. I'm a trial lawyer, and I bring in the patent lawyer to explain what the hell this means to me, and then I get to explain it to a jury. And you read these things and they make no sense. I mean, it is like Klingon, man. You're like,
this stuff makes no sense.
No, and I have a case involving wave machines, which is not wave water
over generating waves
over a surface. Not complicated. You read the patent, subequidyne this and. And I'm just, and the patent lawyer's like, yeah, well, that's obvious. Like, no, to nobody is that obvious but you.
Right.
So you need to tool it so that the front end is.
It's a very lucrative business right now, though.
Oh
right?
my God!
We need to talk more like these
for lawyers. It's great.
Yeah, totally. Just a quick breaking news update before we move on to our next legal story related to Motorola. Thanks for Kanoyo7 to Kanoyo7 in the chat room for pointing this out. Bloomberg is reporting that current Motorola Mobility CEO Sanjay Jha will be ousted.
Really?
Is out and will be replaced by Dennis Woodside, who is a senior VP at Google.
Oh,
and who has been leading the transition of the two companies, reporting directly to CEO Larry Page.
But they're going to leave Motorola alone.
Of course,
they're not gonna integrate.
They're not gonna have their own people go over to Motorola and start running that company. Yeah, they're gonna let them. They're gonna let them be.
Yeah,
they're gonna leave them be, except for the entire leadership.
It's kind of like a super PAC, right?
Guy.
Like we don't control them, but all of our people are there.
Yeah,
but we don't tell them what to do.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
That's big news.
Yeah.
All right, moving on in legal stories today. Pinterest.
You finally get to talk about Pinterest.
I know.
Like, there's a story for you about Pinterest.
Because they talked about it for like 2 weeks while I was gone, and then everybody was like, no more about Pinterest. And I was like, but I just got on it. I'm so excited.
I don't get it. But go ahead.
I don't use it. I'm on it, but I don't use it.
Love it. I'm
so
such
funny.
a girl. I was really annoyed, actually, when I saw this story come out, because Nilay Patel over at The Verge wrote a story entitled Pinterest's Uneasy Relationship with Copyright Law. What happens next? And I saw that headline and I was like, shh. Put it ixnay on the copyright Okay, Uzzkill Bay. So I'm sure that other people were going to think of this, but as far as I'm concerned, Eli, bless his heart, nice guy, smart guy, big buzzkill. Couldn't you just shh? Anyway, he points out the fairly obvious concern vis-a-vis Pinterest, which is that what you're doing is just reposting a bunch of probably copyrighted pictures, and somebody's probably not going to like that. Thanks a lot, Eli.
The good news about it is that I think, as I understand it, to try not to be a bummer anymore.
Here we go.
Here we
The
go.
good side. Let me argue for
Optimist
Pinterest.
Gil.
Let me argue for
Let's hear
Pinterest. The good news is that, as I understand it, I haven't played too much with it, but a lot of it is retail, like pictures from retail sites and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Stuff you like and that may want to buy. And generally they own those. The retailers own those pictures. They're not going to shut you down because they're going to get an interest. They have an interest in you sharing it. The problem is there's this huge issue out there, and I've had a lot of clients that fall into it when they have, for instance, a developer in India do their website, and the developer puts pictures that they found out in the internet of like an random office picture there, and then they get this letter from some lawyer in the Northwest representing Getty Images saying, hey, by the way, that's our image.
FYI.
That'll be $3,000. And then my clients are like, well, I had no idea. It doesn't matter in copyright law. There's no intent required or anything like that. It's strict liability. And so for those types of images, there's a problem. And then they could use a DMCA a bit to get away with that. But I think, the big thrust of it is the retailers, I doubt, would go after them. And that's the good news.
Right. The retailers, and especially not given the fact that Pinterest is apparently quietly changing user links, as we know, to make them referral links so that Pinterest makes a little money, but so that it's a more direct funnel to commerce. So that's good news. But it absolutely, a lot of what is being posted here are blog photos that may be professional photos that were lifted from Google Images or professional photos posted on someone's blog. You know, it becomes kind of a complicated system. Pinterest right now, I think part of the problem is they didn't have a mechanism to deal with this. And it sounds like they don't need much of a mechanism. They just need something specific, a copyright compliance office, a stated policy around their compliance with the DMCA safe harbor laws, which is what they're going to rely on now. And hopefully that will be enough. They will probably, I'm sure, have to weather a lawsuit or two.
The problem is the resources that are going to, I mean, I read it somewhere that their CEO was their copyright officer. I mean, it just shows what a small
contact for the copyright issues is the CEO.
Yeah, you're like, oh, startup. I mean, but they're going to have to create some infrastructure for that, because the other thing is you have to get through these DMCA takedown notices within a certain amount of time. So
and that's the thing for a company, right? That's small in there. It's not like they have a large staff to deal with this. That procedure, we've seen it on YouTube. It's not a very direct one. It goes through many steps and loops, and so if it's an image, are they going to be able to make this, as frictionless for them as possible to handle this? So they're growing up.
Yeah, it depends on how many people complain about it. That's going to be the big issue, is if they've got these Getty lawyers that are just coming after them, and they're brutal. There's a whole law firms just set up to send out these, that's my image, you owe me $3,000. And it's like a flat fee.
Right.
Take it down and give me $3,000.
I feel like 90% of the stuff I see is 80 to 90% of the stuff I see is retail pictures.
And that's why I think they're probably okay as long as they reinforce their mechanisms.
I hope, on the positive side, that they just get one little lawsuit that goes all the way to establishing true fair use precedent.
So that Pinterest can live forever.
I'm not going to
and then we can
pop
have
that bubble at all. I'm just going to sit there and go, well, maybe, Molly, that could happen. Yes.
She looks
Sounds
so
great.
happy.
She really wants
Sounds
this to
great.
happen. The problem is that with copyright law, you're on the hook for attorney's fees, and so nobody wants to fight the distance.
Yeah. Damn it.
I'd be happy to step in and take
I know.
care of those
I want
fees for you.
Pinterest. I want Pinterest to be the one that can finally establish some true codified fair use.
It'd have to be a big company with a big war chest to be able to do that, and I don't think that's Pinterest.
No.
Save Pinterest. Anyway, I'm just saying, Eli, the first copyright lawsuit that comes down from this, I'm just chalking up as you planted the seed. It was your idea. You're a copyright lawyer. Don't be representing them either. All right, Amazon has turned off the buy button on nearly 5,000 Kindle titles from a distributor called Independent Publishers Group after IPG refused to capitulate to Amazon's demand for better terms. Basically, Amazon continuing to ask for better pricing on ebooks, publishers continuing to look at foot, aim, and shoot twice. double tapping their own feet. Anyway, apparently they could not come to agreement. Maybe not. Like, I don't know. I've just been annoyed by ebook pricing as publishers try to find the right balance,
sweet spot,
and then go ahead and just price them as more expensive than the print version, which happens not infrequently.
I don't get that at all. Yeah.
It's insane. Anyway, they couldn't come to an agreement. Amazon pulled the buy button. They've tried that before with one other publisher, Macmillan, and eventually they had to give in. I mean, look, you're either going to sell their goods or you're not.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing here is from the publisher standpoint is there's other places to sell your books still, and so Amazon can't just dictate pricing like a Walmart does to a lot of folks for their sheer volume. And I get that Amazon from the consumer standpoint, it's good because they're trying to drive down these prices, but finding that good middle where the publishers make money and the retailer can get good pricing, I think is hard. And I think competition is a good thing here, and thank God there are other people that have ebooks available.
Yeah, and the story of the client publishers have also been pretty much extremely supportive of IPG's decision to hold their ground and tell them there's still other places to get these books. And we don't see this immediate, but it does give the Nook a boost, and you might in the future, if there are more disputes about this, we know how a lot of these retailers really try to squeeze blood from the stone to get the best, as much of a margin as they can, and just they try to sell it on, hey, you're getting better distribution. Well, if you have other platforms out there like the Nook, this could help them out a tiny bit, because I like my Nook. I want my Nook to stay alive. Bring all the books to the Nook, keep them there. Keep my device alive.
Anyway, yay, Barnes and Noble.
I like it a lot.
I like it. I like your little
just
what I'm getting at here.
All
is
the
I
other
love my
publishers just come over to the Nook side and stay there and just have Amazon figure it out.
Well, and that's the brilliant marketing for Barnes and Noble, right? I mean, if they're nimble and quick, they'll take advantage of that, and they'll be like, hey,
and they have
have it here.
They have been amazing at picking up those marketing messages really quickly.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they jump right over that one. Interesting story from our own Greg Sandoval, an exclusive from Inside Google. Manager saying that so far Google Music not really living up to expectations. Not really doing much there. They supposedly it was going to have the inside track to marketing music to all those 200 million Android users, but as is Google's wont, perhaps you noticed that they utterly forgot to integrate it in Android in any meaningful or usable way.
That's crazy.
I don't know if you noticed that. you probably didn't notice it because nothing changed.
It's not integrated
in your Android experience, because Google Music is not even a little bit integrated into Android.
And
like Amazon MP3 is better integrated into Android than Google Music.
They just need to talk to these divisions. Just need to talk to each other and get some people on the same team. It's amazing.
It'll come in the next rev of the next OS, guys.
I'm sure.
Like a year later, after they were hoping that they'd get some traction. There's somewhere around over 200 million activated Android phones. You'd figure there's obviously people that want to buy music and media content. We've been complaining one of the number one things that Android's issue is building that media ecosystem. They have the marketplace now. It has books, music, movies, tons of content that really is on the level, just a tad bit behind Apple's with some of the exclusive content, but it has everything you need. They need to integrate it better so people spend more on their marketplace. If the article even says here from Greg Sandoval, if they just manage to convert 10%, 20 million users that might use like $1 or $2 every month, yeah,
that would be huge.
Get on that.
It would be huge.
Get on it.
They have, in some ways, it's not surprising that it hasn't taken off. What I love is that they apparently had expectations about it taking off when they did not integrate it throughout the operating system, did not advertise it in any way, shape, or form, and did not market it on any of their other services. And the introduction, let's be honest, at the time we thought was a little bit of a dud. The intro was just like, wow, this feels a little bit, 2004, like, oh, staff recommendations, really? It just didn't, it wasn't offering anything that was
Googlers
super...
love. Yay.
Googlers love music created by computers because they don't think like humans.
They're also saying that
they're in such a bubble. I mean,
they are.
They are.
That, the Plex is a crazy bubble.
And it's starting to sound like what it really is a bunch of different bubbles.
Yeah.
Inside the one big bubble.
With nobody steering the ship.
Yeah.
Right now, Google Music, the service itself, they don't have Warner Music Group as one of the big four labels. They're not on board, and they're probably wondering to see what type of traction Google Music has been able to get. Up to this point, not enough for Warner Music to jump on board. Also, Google managers have, according to the report, says they've been talking to label executives to try to boost the service with more hardware. The Wall Street Journal 2 weeks ago reported that Google's working on building a wireless entertainment system. I don't think that's still good enough.
What?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, a wireless entertainment
I
system,
remember
for their music service. So,
Well, good luck with that.
we'll see, but they need to do a lot more than just say, "Hey, we have a streaming box." I'm just saying, guys.
Google
Why
is
is today like the sad day? Because all of our
I know. I
stories,
feel
It is,
bad.
it's
I
like
feel
all
you
of
were
our
breaking
stories
bad.
were just like
brought the mood down.
Gil brings us to earth.
Damn lawyers.
Pinterest brings us to earth.
It did not. Pinterest is gonna save fair use. Yay!
Yay! Go Pinterest!
Go Pinterest! Save fair use.
Also, we'll see. Also, really, the music game still is yet to be defined. We don't know how these subscription services are playing out yet. People are still trying them out. Not sure if they're really going all in or not. I haven't heard enough of my friends say I'm all about subscription models.
Yeah.
It's still people are still figuring it out.
There's
I'm kind of
room.
doing a
You
little
just
bit of
have to-
everything. So
I've tried them. I just don't. What I would love is the sad music. What I would love is a service that lets you suggests music like Pandora, and then you can buy it easily.
Yeah.
All integrate. Like if iTunes would do that, I think they would. I think that would kill it. But that's what I would like.
I would like music discovery on my own with the ability to purchase my music. Please.
I would like a combination of subscription, recommendation, and purchase in one well-integrated, easy-to-use service that I'm happy to pay for. I'm happy to pay for that.
God
Please, sir.
bless
Please.
us, everyone. God bless us, everyone. All right.
We have a little happy news. We have 2 stories that are cool.
Oh my
We have
gosh.
some cool
I'm
stories.
So stoked. I'm
Yes.
so stoked about
We're
this.
going to pick it right up because we have 2 cool gadget stories.
Gadgets.
Uh-huh. Okay, let's save ourselves
All right.
from the Dickensian melodrama that is the music services world.
This is why I'm stoked. Okay,
our
on
title,
live,
by the
you guys are into the online gaming service. They released a desktop product, but now they've released on live desktop plus. What's amazing about this, right? If you're not familiar with it, through your iPad device, and they're going to support other iOS devices, you can interact and pretty much stream a Windows 7 desktop through your iPad. All right. The beauty of this is not only will you be able to watch Flash content from your iPad. Yeah, some people are like, I don't want to use a touch interface on Windows 7. The beauty of this also is that this is pretty much streaming like a video image to your iPad. I've used it. It's pretty killer. It's connected to a 1 gigabit Ethernet connection, all right? So you could download files through this on live environment and then access them somewhere else, and boom, you have your files like that. But it really is. You can watch Flash video content from all those sites that it's blocked on your iPad.
That's insane.
Right now, the service is $5 a month. They do have a free version that allows you to just interact with Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. But I've got to tell you, it's the first example where you're starting to see cloud computing, this idea of cloud streaming a computer. Really, really, my voice cracked because I was so excited.
It's so amazing.
It really work effectively. Like I would do the demo, but we're on audio. But I think it's definitely worth checking out.
Oh, when you showed it to me, it's amazing. I mean,
It is really
the
impressive.
speed is amazing. It's
Right?
like having a desktop right on your iPad.
Yeah.
It's really
The only
cool.
limitation is your home wireless access. So you're going to want to make sure that your wireless speeds are good enough for this kind of. But I love the fact that it just says to any tablet, "You are my terminal."
Yeah.
And I will deliver device agnostic content to you on live. Again, like we just keep talking about how they are doing such cool things. I'm really waiting for them to break out because I feel like 2012 could really be their year.
Yeah. So
Super cool.
check it.
Also, I am nerdily excited about yet another Google project that they're not going to follow through on, but they say that they're going to.
Of course.
Just saying, we've been burned before. Google claims that they will be selling heads-up display glasses by the end of the year that will have low-res cameras built in and that will give you the ability to do like navigation, local services. Me too, just over there. Maybe see heads-up display call-outs about your Google Plus contacts, just like in Freedom. These are like the little. These are the glasses that you wear in Demon and Freedom.
You guys,
Where to begin?
where do we begin? Make friends, meet people, interact with the world without a HUD. Heads up display. Sorry, nerds. I think it's kind of cool, but I'm not gonna wear these things.
The best
Well,
part
you
is
don't
how
even know what they look like. What if they look cool?
Odds are no.
Highest probability, no.
I'm pretty sure they're not.
But the
gonna
best
look
part is,
cool.
did you read how you navigate it? It's head tilts. So we're just further down the
Ew.
road of technology making us look crazy when we're walking down the street. Like before, we started talking to each other ourselves with Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Now we talk to our phones with Siri, and then later we're gonna be like twitching. Like,
I'm sure
This
it's-
is the old.
No. They say that they people have been told. At least at one blogger for 95 Google said he's been told it's quick to learn, and once you're adept at navigation, it becomes second nature and almost indistinguishable to outside users. Just a little,
so
like
it's a little tilt.
You're going to get lost.
like if you're walking, your head's already moving.
You're gonna get lost in this virtual world where no one matters.
You're
going no.
No. I'm never gonna
one
get
matters.
lost again because my maps are in my glasses,
And
and
no
that is
one,
what I want.
And no one matters. What happened to the art of saying hello, sir? Do you know where that ice cream shop is?
That's hilarious.
I'm like, dude, walk down 2 blocks over to the right.
They
Thank
never
you.
know.
Thank
never
you.
know.
No,
It's
they
true.
never know.
They'll be
No one
like,
ever
I don't-
knows.
No,
I
they
don't live
know.
here. I'm visiting.
You get your phone out. Both of you. Why can't I just wanted my glasses?
I'm just looking forward to the B-roll of Molly like this twitching down the street.
All I'm saying is
I'm
it's
getting
getting worse. We already have blue tools. We're gonna have goggle Google freaks.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Now, would you pay $600 for them though? 600.
It's horrible.
250 to 600.
And 250.
They might start at 250.
Is almost an impulse purchase for me. So 250 maybe, but six I don't know.
I'm excited.
I'm sorry.
I'm ready.
I cannot wait to see you.
So what
wearing them.
I feel like what I feel like what I hear you saying is that you're not that into this.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it might be something that I'm not really into
We
right now.
talked about that last week on Into It, Not Into It, the HUD glasses.
Yeah, I was into it then. Hell yeah.
Still.
I mean,
so.
I
I'm
love
still
tech.
into it.
I feel like we're getting stuff like this makes me feel like we're getting even more disconnected, and like it's sad to see for me. I love tech, but come on, I like people.
I would be scared about my addiction problems with it because they would. I mean, I'd be at the dinner table like, yeah, honey, that's great. How was your day? That's like that.
Yeah,
that
the
T-Mobile-
Verizon ad
yeah.
or something. I mean, I'm the guy that has 4 gadgets in his backpack already. That's pathetic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool, but it's pathetic.
I just don't see us getting back to that world where nobody talks to me on the street. Like it's
Well, that's your own
and
problem.
when they do talk to me and ask me where stuff is, I don't know.
People
So if I
always
have
say-
my glasses on, I could just be like, well,
people
Well, right-
people
I
are
was
nice.
gonna say, well, wait a minute.
Right? Oh, let me tell you. Right? Oh, wait, crap. Oh, no. Oh,
Here's
damn it. I don't
here's
know.
what I find. Here's what I find. Before we go into our into it, not into it. And then I've been, obviously people in our show live in different areas, and there's different regions of the U.S. where if you kind of walk around with your head up and make eye contact, people will sometimes respond to you.
Not here.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's
why
what I'm saying.
bother?
Not here,
Give me the
but,
glasses.
but when that happens here, it's like amazing to me where I get like a half smile because someone sees me kind of walking and I'm already kind of by nature maybe just like, oh, this song's fun. I'm kind of smiling. And then the person's like smiles back. I'm like, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Where is that?
Nah. I want my heads up
Fine,
display.
guys, fine.
This is the future, you guys. Augmented and virtual reality is the
I
future.
don't
It's
want
coming.
When it's in your
Fired up.
contact, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
That is true. The contact, like
I
Mission
want it-
Impossible 4.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot
That
wait
would
to
be
have
cool.
that.
Oh,
Yes.
Mission
No, I want the
Impossible
chip.
4. Okay,
that movie was
we do need to do a little disclosure. Our entire CNET team,
Yeah.
CNET TV team, took pretty much a half day off as a team building exercise and watched MI4 in IMAX.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was
yeah, that's good.
ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
Anyways,
Scenes on
The
tower.
scenes on the Verge Dubai.
Yeah.
ho!
That
I
was
mean,
crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I almost peed. I can't even. There ain't no shame in my game. I almost peed.
I released another bodily fluid, but I was able to clean myself up.
God.
Always takes you too far.
All right,
Saliva.
save us. Save us.
Saliva.
Next.
Dance music, dance music.
Saliva. What were you guys thinking about?
I don't know what
I
you
don't
were
know.
thinking about, but I want Steven to help us.
I don't know.
Okay. All
Help
right.
us. Help us.
All right. It's my time to shine. I've been sitting here silently, chomping at the bit this whole show, waiting for this. All right. So here we go. You guys ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
I'm not into it.
Everyone's moving. Everyone's grooving. All right. Welcome. This is Into It, Not Into It, where we quickly run down some recent tech product releases and decide whether or not we are simply into it or not into it. Let's get started. Number 1. Okay. Number 1, DARPA. DARPA is planning to produce actual surrogate robot avatars for our military personnel, which will be bipedal and remotely operated. This is the real avatar. Flying dragons not included. Molly Wood, are you into this?
I'm into it because of the word bipedal.
Gil Cabrera, are
I
you
don't know
into
what
this?
bipedal is, but I'm into it.
Right on. Brian Tong, are you into
One of the
this?
few people who love the movie into it.
Hell yeah, the correct answer is yes, I'm into it. We all need robotic avatars, but let's not give James Cameron too much credit. He thinks he's the king of the world.
So
He's
he
going
is.
crazy. All right.
So true.
Ewa.
Number
Ewa.
2.
Okay, I'll stop it.
All right.
Stop it.
Number 2, a UK research project will equip dairy cows with the same sensor used in Wii Nintendo controllers to alert farmers by text if their cows are getting sick or if they are in heat. Molly Wood, are you into cows texting?
I'm not into it. Leave those cows alone.
Gil Cabrera.
This is weird. No.
Brian Tong, are you into it?
Totally into cows in heat. Into it!
That's the correct answer. I am a pro cow. Hopefully we'll get both
cow.
iPhone and Android support for the cows. Because what's the saying? Cows taste better. Happy cows taste better. Is that what it says? Whoa, sorry.
They make better milk.
Say
make
what?
better
You guys
milk,
don't
yeah.
eat. You guys don't eat meat. Come on. Okay. 3D.
Touché.
Number 3. Number 3. Researchers at Drexel University in Philadelphia are starting to create 3D scans of fossils to better study the motion of giant dinosaurs through small-scale robotic models. Molly Wood, are you into this?
I am into everything 3D printing related.
Hell yeah. Gil Cabrera.
Yes, I want one.
Brian Tom.
Did you say dinosaurs? Did you see that shirt? I'm into it, baby.
That is the correct answer. I'm into it. Not only am I pro cow, but I'm pro dinosaur. And if we scan them, we can rebuild them and get Jurassic Park going on.
I would love
in this
that.
country,
I'm
which would
less
be
into
both
that.
fun
I'm
and
less
scary.
into that. Less into that.
All right, moving on. Number 4.
Uh-oh.
Researchers have recently showed off an iPhone-friendly tongue drive system, which uses a retainer embedded with sensors that track a tiny magnet attached to the user's tongue, which allow you to control computers and devices. Molly Wood, are you into surfing the web with your tongue?
I am into the obvious health benefits for those with limited mobility, Brian Tong.
Gil Cabrera, are you into this?
I want to say yes, but it's weird. Yes, I'm
It
into
is
it. I'm
weird.
into it.
Brian Tong, I know you like to lick Apple products. Will you use this?
Guys, my nickname's not Brian Tongue for no reason. Into it.
That is the correct answer. I'm into it.
so
It looks
stupid.
crazy and invasive, and I'm kind of grossed out. Look at this. It's totally gross.
Yeah, it's
That's
gross. That
weird.
picture's
That is-
upsetting.
that's-
But it would be
disturbing.
great for people
Upsetting.
with special needs.
Yes.
Moving on. Rewinery. A new app called Rewinery for the iPhone lets you order wine for delivery right to your front door. That is, if you live in San Francisco, it's $40 for 3 bottles of wine, and a hip bike messenger dude will bring you your vino. Molly Wood, are you into this?
I am not into it because I live in Oakland and I hate hip bike messenger bags.
Okay, Gil Cabrera.
I want to be into this because I like methods to deliver wine.
Cool. Brian Tong.
I'm down with the wine. Into it.
That is the correct
Into it.
answer. I'm into it. Drunk driving is a big problem in the U.S., and this will allow you to get drunk and never have to leave your house. Thank you, Rewinery app. Moving on.
That's a good point.
Number
Touché.
6.
Number 6.
Number 6. Beam Technologies has created a new smart toothbrush that works with an Android app to improve your lazy oral hygiene habits. It times you while you brush your teeth and tracks your toothbrushing history. Molly Wood, are you into toothbrushing apps?
I already have this in my toothbrush.
You do? Okay, you have a
Yeah.
timer or something?
Well, yeah, my Sonic.
Okay, cool.
Not into it. I already have my Sonic.
Gil Cabrera,
I too have a Sonic, not into it.
Brian Tom.
I don't brush my teeth. Not into it.
That's the correct answer. As hell no, I'm not into it. I'll use an egg timer. This thing's like $50. My toothbrush is like $2.99.
Yes!
Yeah,
sounds
seriously.
crazy.
Seriously.
Okay.
Sonic.
And last but not least, number 7. This one's for BT. The internet has given birth to the Jeremy Lin word generator. It's Lincredible. Molly Wood, are you Lin-spired?
I am so Lin-spired, and I totally want to have one of those Lin parties that everybody's having.
Gil Cabrera, are you Lin-sane?
I am Linsane.
Brian Tong, is this Lintastic?
The technology has brought us the Linternet. It's very interesting.
I'm so into
I'm all
Jeremy
into,
Lin.
I'm all into it, baby.
I
I'm
think-
into it.
I think Jeremy Lin's
I'm
Lin.
into it.
Into it. Yes. Nice.
Well done.
Very
Hey,
nice.
I don't have a job for no reason.
Outstanding.
Wait, let's look at some of the words that you could do here. We have
Lin.
Lincubator.
Linkubator.
Oh,
That's
Lin
good.
plus Envision equals
Ritalin.
Lin.
Ritalin.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
Lin Courage.
Lynn Courage.
And Lynn Depp.
Oh man,
It goes on and
That's
on.
awesome.
Lindulgent.
I'm going to have a Lintini party.
That's good.
Thanks. You're all invited.
All right, that was it, guys. Thank
Wait,
you very much for
we
playing.
forgot to
The dance at the end.
Oh, okay. Wait, the track stopped.
And now we dance, right?
Anyway, I'll start it over.
Okay.
I'm not into it.
All right, that was into it, not into it. Thank you guys.
I'm so happy I was here for that.
Lynn to it.
dude, you know it's the fun. It's a cool
Yay.
segment. It's
Cool
so
segment.
fun. See, some people were like, dude, I don't like into it. Not when you're in the studio, you are
It's
into
fun.
it.
Who are
It's
some
funny as
people?
hell.
Who says that?
I remember when it first came out, I deleted them and blocked them from the chat.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who's not into it now. Everybody's into it now.
I am so into it.
Yeah, I had a big smile. when
I'm
I saw
so
it
into
line up.
this. All right, let's cruise through the emails real quick. No voicemails today. So let's see. Our first one, because I'm having a Google Docs moment. Jim, the space engineer from Fremont, California, says, in reference to Molly's recent cell phone purchase from episode 1581, sarcasm, how wonderful it must be for Molly to be caught in the middle of the Android Apple fanboy war, and sarcasm. Honestly, as a person who switched from the iPhone to the Android HTC Inspire, I sympathize with Molly. I love how smooth and reliable my HTC phone is. 9 months later, and after 2 carrier delayed software updates, people talk about how the iPhone is a year behind in technology, but it took nearly a year for my bleeding edge Android phone to become equally reliable. By this time, my carrier had already replaced the Inspire with 7 new Android phones with bleeding edge features that sort of work. The Android manufacturers are too easy to push features over fully baking the technology, and they are spineless to the carrier's wishes. As an engineer, I still love my more capable Android phone over my current iPhone, but my fellow Android users need to accept that Apple's tightly controlled and feature-limited management of the iPhone does result in benefits that other people need or desire. Quit apologizing to the Android fanboys, Molly. I think it's pretty clear that the iPhone is a better fit for you. It's not like the Android population is going to collapse with your decision. P.S. He says, I own an iMac, a Dell laptop, a Mac Mini, an Android phone, an iPod Touch, an iPod Nano. I can't make up my freaking mind either.
I think it should be a requirement that people, whenever they write us, they can just list their technology.
You should know. Yeah,
It's just
everyone
like,
should have to list. I love
What's
that.
in your pocket?
What's in your pocket?
What's in your pocket?
I think the only way to live is sort of a happy balance of
Without
things, I guess.
Google
Both a
goggle
little bit.
glasses, without glasses.
Whatever, I'm totally getting
All right, you can do that. All right, here we go. Our next email. This comes to us from our buddy Craig Happ. He makes some very interesting points here. He says, "Hey guys, first I have seen BT wear a tie a few times now, and after reading Molly's column about Apple winning and her purchase of a 4S, everything Hitler said has come true. I thought you guys might like to revisit his thoughts." So we have this video clip. This is from the Buzz Out Loud going weekly Hitler
parody.
meme
Yep.
that we've seen.
And he was right.
And this was produced in September of 2011, guys. So we're going to jump to this little part for those of you watching the video.
Nostradamus in this one.
This is a little
Was Sie
crazy.
da sagen, ist ungeheuerlich. Die Generalität ist
This is the biggest load of crap that I've heard since Steve Jobs quit.
Ist ohne Ehre.
The next thing you know, Molly Wood will be buying an iPhone,
Generale, weil Sie Jahre auf Militärakademie
or Tong will start wearing a suit and tie.
hält.
Those things totally happen.
Both.
Or the Donald Bell's moving to join an Amish farming community. Okay, that might actually. I remember that
That
too.
actually did happen.
That was a really funny Hitler Reacts one. That was funny.
Yeah, so anyways, we'll have the link in our show notes if you guys want to see the whole Hitler reacts. But
It's
it was
true.
actually right on the
Once
on
we
the
went
money.
weekly, the
amazing. Yeah, it's
dominoes
amazing.
just started falling.
That Hitler.
Started falling. And then in the most awesome email ever, I think, change the name once again. I think you should change the name to Apple Out Loud, AOL. Now that I don't know if any of you are using anything but Apple products. Sent from my iPhone.
That's the best part of that
That
one.
is awesome.
Oh man.
That's pretty great.
All right.
All right, fair enough. We're not changing the name.
Well, I think that's gonna pretty much do it for today's
That's it
show,
for
right?
today's show.
We
It's
do
been a
want to
mega show,
Yeah, it's
though.
been fun. We do want to encourage you guys. We talked a lot about privacy, but how does this affect you guys? What are your thoughts on all these privacy rules, consumer bill of rights? Please email us. We'll talk about it. We'll let your thoughts be heard. You can email us at buzz@cnet.com. Also, our show notes, bol.cnet.com. And you can call us.
1-800-616-2638 is our phone number. That spells CNET. Buzz@cnet.com is our email address. Thank you so much. You already said that. I know.
I know.
remember
We
that now.
like copying each other.
I remember that.
I know.
I was there for that. Thank you, Gil, for joining us. Gil SD in the chat
Awesome
room.
stuff.
Gil Cabrera on Twitter if you want to follow all your legal musings.
Thanks for having me again. It's lots of fun.
Yeah.
I come here for work, and this is the part I look forward to the most.
You should. Honestly, if you didn't say that, we'd punch you in the face.
I know, you need it. That's true.
I get up
That
at the
is
crack
true,
of dawn,
actually.
man. Let me tell you.
And we appreciate it. 'Cause I think you should be a regular.
Regular.
Regular. All right, guys, we will see you next week. Have a lovely weekend.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Adios.